you know.
I think the first game that really blew my mind was Ocarina of Time. Just the concept that day kind of actually changes to night and goes back to day. You know, the graphics at the time were phenomenal. The concept of the game.
God, now I'm trying to think of the first game that actually like blew my mind.
For me, it was definitely Ocarina of Time.
God, I don't even know. It's weird to say, but it might have been Pokemon. Just the thought of like, I own these creatures, I train them to be this awesome, and then when I finally beat the hardest trainers in the game, I feel so accomplished and just like, I'm the best. There's nothing more than that.
Yeah.
And even when I first started the game, I was like, okay, I have a concept of what Pokemon is, but I don't have a concept of like how to be good at it. All I know how to do is get Pokemon, train them.
I think that's one of the things I love the most is playing a brand new game, like not like playing a new Zelda game, but a brand new game altogether, and trying to discover is like, you know, you don't know shit about this. Like I remember the first time I played Maple Story, I'm completely retired now, you know, I'm completely done with it.
I know you hate when I say this, but thank God.
I agree. But like when I first started playing, it was something that was entirely new, and I didn't know anything about it, and it was all about like discovering, and it was really cool.
I think that's a problem that I have with a lot of games lately. It's not that I don't like playing games, but my problem is it's like there's nothing new is like grabbing me. No new mechanics, nothing new. It's the same old song and dance, but with a different IP name, and I'm just kind of like, where's the creation? Where's the creativity? Where's the spark that's gonna get me to buy your game? Like
Yeah, no, I feel the same way, and I think a lot of other people too. And it's not just like this whole thing about like, oh, N64 was the greatest console ever, or you know, GameCube was, or you know, Xbox 360.
They knew back then they knew how to immerse you. They knew with the limited budget they had, even for like GameCube and PS2, they knew their budget. Mm-hmm. They knew what they had to make. They didn't have to spend fucking $600 million fucking Grand Theft Auto 5. They had a limited budget, make an immersive game that pulls you in and really makes you feel like you matter. Not a fucking game where every 12 seconds it's a cutscene and they have to explain an hour's worth of story. It's like, dude, shut up, just let me play and figure shit out.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely that, but there's this whole other side where like, I feel like the genres for video games have limited how new IPs are made. Like, it feels like a new IP comes out and it's still a clone of something else. Like, I mean, you got first-person shooters, and all of them are very similar, and you've got platformers, and all of them are very similar. You don't see new ideas anymore.
One thing I will give this. I'm kind of a sucker now. I've gotten really big into like the platforming adventure type games and like all that stuff. Like games like Rayman Origins or Rayman Legends got me excited because they were the same, but so unique in the sense of being the same. It made me happy to be like, all right, this game is too good to not praise.
That's a perfect example of like taking an old idea and giving a new twist on it, and it makes it good. I don't feel like a lot of games, like at that point, we're getting to the point where that's what you need to do, because new ideas are harder to come by.
You need to blow the populace's mind, or you need to at least shove a new idea at them. Don't take the same concept, throw a new skin on it, and be like, this is new, and then you play it, and it's like, this isn't new. If I wanted to play this, I would have played Mario, or I would have played Banjo-Kazooie, or I would have played Zelda, or I would have played blah 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 blah. Like, you need to get people to want to grab onto your concept and buy it, not just be like, hey, it's the same thing but it's nicer graphics. It's like, no, shut up, cut that out.
Yeah. And you know, that's the other thing, is a lot of people are, you know, this whole idea that everything needs to be realistic graphics. I disagree. I think a certain stylized set of graphics is a lot better because it stands the test of time better, like I was saying earlier. And it's something unique. It's not like trying to fucking be the most realistic game out there, you know?
It's funny, in the sense of like people are getting sick of like the cartoony look for games. I'm getting sick of realistic. I'm so sick of it.
I completely agree.
Like, that's why I'm reverting back to like, I'm in the stage of like, I had my old Nintendo phase with my N64 and my GameCube. The newer consoles came out, and you know, I drifted off into Xbox for a little bit, and then Xbox got so overrated and stupid, I was just like, okay, I don't care. And then I started playing my Wii more, and I got into my Wii, and then the Wii U came out, and I got into that, and then I got a 3DS, and it's like, I'm drifting back into Nintendo, because I guess in my head, Nintendo still knows how to make a game that, while with the same concept, can still have the potential to be like, okay, we know you've played this before, but here's why you need to play this one, and it's usually really damn good.
Well, I do agree with that, and I want to add on to that. I think the reason why I like Nintendo so much, like, obviously you've noticed I've played a lot of Super Mario 64. I'm going back to games that I didn't appreciate or play that much of, and I have a new appreciation for them. And I've definitely realized that Nintendo is still doing that whole idea of coming up with new ideas, new IPs that are brand new. Like, look at Pikmin, for example. When that came out, there was nothing like that. There was nothing in comparison to Pikmin, and there still isn't to this day.
That's literally the only thing I can think of, and you need to try it. I don't care if you think it's like, whatever. At least give it a shot. The Wonderful 101. Oh my god.
I'll give anything a shot by Nintendo.
It's like Pikmin, but with superheroes. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, when Pikmin... And the other thing that bothers me is, like, when new, unique games come out, if they're not pushing for, like, a budget to be like, alright, we need to put ads in for this game everywhere. It's like, you should put ads where they matter, and if people want to buy it, they'll buy it, and the word will get out. Like, I get, like, marketing is a big part of gaming, and that's why games like Battlefield and Call of Duty and stuff like that sell really well, because they're fucking everywhere. But I'm talking, like, the indie market. No one other than, like, hardcore gamers know about the indie market. Nobody knows about, like, the underrated developers like Platinum. Like, it's sad. It's really, really sad.
Well, it's almost interesting you bring up indie gamers, because let's take a perfect example of Minecraft. Like I said, another brand new fucking IP idea. When it came out, let's face it, there's nothing like Minecraft. There was nothing like it.
No one understood. They were like, alright, what's the thing? And Notch was like, you just build. Just go in the world and build. And they were like, well, what's the point? That's dumb. And then look at it now. It fucking blew up.
Yeah, people start playing it, looking at it, and realizing, hey, this is really fun. Like, it was just because it was a new idea. It was a new.
I think people and developers. I'm sorry if I keep cutting you off. I'm really sorry.
No, that's fine.
I like commentating and talking about games.
That's
sorry.
Why you're here.
Anyway, I think developers and gamers, in the same sense, are afraid of new. Like, I feel like gamers nowadays gamers in quotations, are so afraid of new or something that's not, what they're used to playing, that when it comes out, they're afraid to buy it, so they just don't buy it, and then the game doesn't sell well, and it's like, okay, well, now we can't make another one, and it's a shame to see games just go down the shitter.
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
And then developers are afraid to make... Sorry, I cut you off, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
And then developers are afraid to make these games, because every time they make one, it doesn't sell well, and they're like, okay, we could try again, or, we could, just never do it again. And unfortunately, the sad truth is they're gonna pick we lost too much money, we shouldn't make another one. And it's sad, because there's so many good games that have gone down the shitter because of, shitty sales or not enough advertisement. It's just, it makes me sad. I don't want these big titles anymore. I want these series to die, in a sense, but in the sense of, like, they had their time, they were good at one point, but they've been beat to death. Cut it out. Let someone else come in and take the reins, take your crown, and be on top for a while. And then when that series has had its time in the shine, give it to another IP.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I keep talking about Nintendo and how great they are, and I really do think right now they are the greatest gaming company, because they're not. Problem with Microsoft, and more Microsoft than PlayStation, but they're stifling the creativity by trying to. I don't even want to say that they're trying to make money, which is part of it. But
they're trying to make money. There's no getting around it.
But there's, like, a bigger side there where they're too relaxed in their position of, like, games like Call of Duty. Like, they keep on making more of them because they know people will play it, instead of trying to come up with new ideas.
It's depressing, really.
And this is honestly why I think indie games are on the rise right now, because so many of them, why they're becoming so popular, is there's something entirely new. Like, a little while ago, I've talked about it before, Fez was a new idea on an old game, and it was absolutely fantastic. And, like, it's an old idea of platforming, and then trying to figure out, like, intense puzzles that are, not gaming oriented into a video game. And it was so diverse and added so many new ideas that it became, like, literally a brand new style of gameplay. It completely changed the game.
And it sucks that we'll never see the second one. And that's a perfect example of, like, a guy whose one dream, his dream was to make that game. Make that fucking game as good as he could. And then his partner disbanded. His partner had control over rights to the game. He couldn't get the rights back, and when he finally did, the game didn't work right when he showed it at PAX, I think. It was either PAX or E3, one of the two. And then, he got bad press for it. He was starting to make the second one, and then he was getting a bunch of shit, and he was like, you know what, I'm fucking done. You guys aren't getting a second one. And he flat out came out and said on Twitter, he's like, the gaming market is awful. Or working in the gaming industry is awful. And I was like, that's so sad to hear, because he made such a good game.
Alright, sorry to interrupt you. We'll talk more in a minute. I need a name.
D: my dick.
What the fuck? I can't believe I'm doing this.
Your life would be boring if I wasn't in it. Let's just put it that way. Now shut up and type.
I'm not gonna be able to take the conversation seriously anymore. Oh, I can walk now. That's right, I gotta leave.
What the fuck is Riley doing in there? Did he fall down? He's in the bathroom. I just heard goo 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 goo.
I've seen, like, the style of graphics you see right now, not necessarily in the battle scenes, but like they are right now, I think those could be used today. Like, if you did those in, like, a DS game, a 3DS game, and you just stylized them just a little bit more, like, a little bit better textures, you could use those today, and it would be enjoyable, because of, like, how the characters' heights are, how the builds are, stuff like that. It's still pleasant to look at.
Yeah. Sorry, I was talking to I caught what you said, but I was talking to Riley for a second. But yeah. That's something I like to think of, like, I've never played it, but I've seen plenty of stuff of it. Like, presentation doesn't have to be complex. Look at, Fez. It's 2D in the sense of, like, the style it is. But when you're rotating the puzzles, that's a 3D plane. It kind of reminds me of, like, Mode 7 from the Super Nintendo for, like, A Link to the Past and, like, Mega Man X2, the last boss, Sigma. Like, it's just cool to look at when you're rotating the screen and the puzzle's 3D and then it goes back to on a 2D plane. It's cool.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's so many more ways that can be used too, like 3D usage in a 2D game.
And I praise this game, I do. Like, even like the new Rayman games, Origins and like Legends. A Rayman game never looked like that. It never looked like that. And after like the 3D ones had their time, they were like, okay, let's make Rayman. Let's take what Rayman did good, which was the platforming and the sort of combat that Rayman kind of had, but not really. Let's take that, but take that 3D element and just make it flat. Let's just make a 2D platforming adventure game. And it worked to their advantage, because Origins and Legends are two of my favorite games that have come out in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I still gotta play them. I see they're on Steam, so maybe I'll do a blind Let's Play. Another thing, like you were talking about, I kind of want to bring this up. Sonic the Hedgehog, it had its dark years for a long time.
Oh, God.
And they've been recent. But I actually played a little bit of Sonic Generations, and it's actually not bad. They fixed a lot of the issues.
That game is so good.
It's very good. And that's what makes me so excited for this new game coming out, is I've been looking at some of the playthroughs and some of the things coming out, and it looks even
Lost
better.
World.
I feel like Sonic games are starting to come back a little better because they finally get the picture. That they don't need to...
the thing was, they learned it with Colors. Have you ever played Colors?
I have not, and I've heard that I need to.
It's the dumbest concept for a Sonic game. Eggman has an amusement park in space. Like, are you fucking kidding me? But the game is so good. Like, people were like, oh good, another Sonic game, and then they saw reviews for it and it's getting like 8s out of 10s, 4s out of 5s, and they're like, what the fuck happened? And they play the game and the game's awesome. And then Generations comes out and it's like, hey, remember that time we had bad Sonic games? Yeah, us either, because Generations. And it was like a step in the right direction for, like, Sonic Team was like, okay, why are we experimenting with Sonic when we know what makes Sonic good, which is speed?
I think that's what they're starting to understand, and they're like, for the longest time they thought that they had to introduce something new, like I was talking about earlier, but they're doing it in the way of like introducing a gimmick, like becoming a werehog, or Sonic with the secret rings, which is absolutely terrible.
Yeah, it's
You know?
awful.
But they try to do a gimmick or completely change like the play style, and they need to understand that all they needed was, like, for example, take a look at Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. At its time, it was a new style for Sonic, and they did it well. Like, it wasn't too bad. It was kind of glitchy, but it was still enjoyable. And the story was actually pretty decent. That's all you really need for a Sonic game, is a decent story. It doesn't even have to be great, but it's the gameplay that's important. You know, you can't be gimmicky. It's got to be, you know, something solid. And that's why I really like the new game.
My only thing with Lost World is, like, I played the demo at GameStop, and it was cool, it was fun, but I think it has a little bit of that gimmick in it, but not as big as it. That wasn't me, by the way, Riley. It doesn't have as much of that gimmick in it as it used to, but it holds, like, trying to hold a candle to Mario Galaxy, where the planes rotate. It's like sometimes it's hard to pick up speed, but, like, in the same sense, it's like when you do pick up speed, it feels like a genuine Sonic game. There are multiple paths in the 3D worlds. You can rotate a plane to get to a different, you know, spring and get to a different part of the level. Like, it feels like a Sonic game at its core, but it, in the sense of, like, the gimmick of, like, it kind of feels like Mario Galaxy, kind of made me go, okay, I mean, I see what you're doing, now can you stop it?
No, I totally agree. I don't know.
Like, I'll probably end up buying it at some point. Like, I've seen, like, mixed reviews. Like, some people hate it, some people like it, and some people love it. And I'm just like, I think I need to play more. The level I did play was I actually really enjoyed it. And it's just like the first level. It's like Act 1. I was like, whatever, I'll just try it. And it controls pretty well on the gamepad. The only thing that's kind of wonky is, like, you know how Sonic's always kind of like, ever since, like, Adventure 2 Battle, you know how in, like, Adventure 2 Battle, Sonic kind of starts off, like, walking really slow, but his feet are moving fast, and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, he still kind of does that, and, like, he does that, but he still walks kind of slow for, like, a while, and you're like, alright, you can pick up if you want, and I'm like, maybe it's just because I'm not very good at Sonic games, but I figured it out eventually, and when I started actually going, I actually enjoyed it.
You know what's funny is I haven't read any dialogue in, like, the past 10 minutes.
That's fine, whatever. we know the